Hi everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Could be a little noisier today. Normally when I film for my YouTube demos I'm home alone, but it's not the case at the moment, so apologies if you hear doors closing, voices. The family's all around me, but I wanted to get another YouTube filmed for you. So today we're going to look at another bead weaving technique, and it's to do with netting. Now, previously I've shown you basic netting, which gives you that lovely diamond shape with the seed beads on the back, and then I embellished it with Swarovski crystal on the front. So I'll pop a link to that one down below in the comments in case you want to try the basic netting. I've also shown you another form of simple netting, flat netting, which instead of giving you little diamond shapes, gives you those little sort of squares. And again, I've embellished the top, and here's the other one I did. Let me just undo it quickly for you. So there's the back of it, and there's the front. Loads of sparkle. I'm loving my sparkle at the moment. It's certainly making me smile. So those are the two lots of flat netting that we've done, and I'll pop links to both of those videos in the comments below. But today what we're going to look at is tubular netting. So it's a beaded rope, and again in this one you can see I have used 6mm Swarovski crystal pearls. I've used two different colors, and what forms the netting around those pearls are size 11 seed beads. So it's another beaded rope. It beads up pretty quickly, and it's a nice easy one to try and do while you're sitting at home. As usual, I'm going to start off by showing you what we're going to be using today. So here's the original one I did, where I've used 6mm pearls. This time round I'm going to use gemstones. So I've got a lovely strand of 6mm labradorite here, and then a faceted strand of 6mm blue goldstone. And I'm going to be using two colours of my size 11 seed beads. I've got Silverline Transparent Grey, and I've got Duracoat Galvanized Smoky Pewter. Now, if I bring this one back into shot quickly, you'll notice that there's a little accent bead at every crossover point. So I'm going to use the transparent grey as my accent bead, and I'm going to use the silver to form my crisscrossing net throughout the beaded rope. I'm going to use a toggle clasp, and I've got quite a big one this time because this is a fairly substantial chunky beaded rope. On this particular one I beaded my own toggle clasp using peyote stitch, which you can do as well. That will be another YouTube video that I do shortly, is to show you how to bead your own clasps. We're using fireline or wildfire, your chosen thread. I'm using black satin today because all my beads that I'm using are quite dark, and therefore if any thread is showing I'm not going to see it. And a size 10 beading needle, and I always have my thread zapper handy to end off any threads or start any new threads. So you can go ahead and cut yourself. I'm using a double wingspan of thread. I may need to add more in, I'm not sure at this stage, but that double wingspan, if you hold your arms out to your side and you go middle finger to middle finger, and you do that twice, gives you about 3 meters of thread to use. So go ahead and get all your beads ready, and then we'll get started. The original back and to show you again that we're going to be beading this rope in rounds. So we're going to start our initial round with one, let's call the labradorite colour A and the blue goldstone colour B. So you'd start with the labradorite, and then the second round is you build the first part of the net. The third round is you swap over to your other colour, and you do a round of the other colour before building the net up around it again. So on my needle I've got my approximate 3 meters of thread there, so you'll have to bear with me because it is quite a long piece to pull through. And I'm going to start with the labradorite, and I'm going to pick up one plus an accent bead in between. So one labradorite, an accent 11, another labradorite, a second accent bead, a third, and a third accent. So I've got 3 of my 6mm rounds interspersed with 3 of my size 11 seed beads, but the accent color. And I'm going to move those down towards the end of my very long piece of thread. And as usual, if you leave yourself about a 20 centimeter tail, you can use that to add on one end of your clasp. And before we go any further, I'm going to pass the needle back through all those beads, making sure that I go through each of them because I don't want the thread to be showing. So I think I'm through all of them there. I'm just going to pull it through. And to pull those around so that they make their little square, you can see they're coming into a little triangle there, not a square. And I'm going to pass back through the first 6mm, and I want to be exiting one of the little seed beads. So I'm going to come through that first little seed bead as well. Sorry, I got tangled up around the camera. So I'm holding my tail in my left, and you can see this is the working thread exiting one of my little accent 11s over there. So that's round 1 complete. We're now going to start building the net, which is round 2. And for a 6mm size bead, you could be using a 4mm, you could be using an 8mm. You would just need to adjust the number of seed beads that I'm about to pick up now. But for 6mm, you're going to pick up 4 of your main color, 1 accent bead, and another 4 of your main color. And you're going to skip over the top of your gemstone or your pearl, your big bead, and you're going to pass the needle through the accent bead that's sitting between them. And I'm pulling it up because I don't need it to be sitting around the outside. I want it to actually be sitting on the top. It's to start my netting. So my thread is now exiting the accent bead that was between those 2 gems, and I'm going to pick up my next lot of netting, which is 4 of my main color, 1 accent bead, and another 4 of my main color. And just as we did before, I'm going to skip over and pass through the accent bead. You could use all the same colors. You don't need to be using an accent color, but you'll see it makes things a lot easier in round 3 if you've got a bead that's a slightly different color to the rest of your netting. So once more, we need 1 more bit of netting, 4 of your main color, 1 accent bead, and another 4 of your main color. And we're going to pass over the bead and through the little accent bead, which was the first one that we had. Let me just pull my thread through and hope my tail doesn't get tangled up. So there we have the end of round 2, which is the initial stage of our netting. Now we need to step up to be able to continue. So to step up means we've got to get to the outermost edge of our beadwork so that we can continue. So I'm going to pass the needle through all 4 of the main color and exit through the accent color. So you're passing through 5 beads in total. Get the tail out the way. And I'm ready to start round 3. So I'm going to swap over to the other gemstone. Now this is where the accent color comes into play, because you're going to be picking up your other color gemstone and skipping across to the next accent bead. So it helps if you've got a different color there. Pick up 1, skip across all those beads and pass the needle through the accent bead in between the other loop of your netting. And pull your thread through. And again, I'm going to pick up another gemstone and I'm going across to the next little accent bead You could always count if you were using the same color, you could count them. And one more, and I'm coming across to this accent bead sitting just ahead of the first gemstone I picked up in this round. So round 3 is complete, and I still don't have much to hold on to, but if I move it onto its side, you can see how the netting is starting to work on the side. So next thing, round 4 is to create more netting again. So we're picking up 4 of our main color, 1 accent, and 4 of our main color. That's only 3. An extra one for 4. Skip over the gemstone and through the accent bead on the side. Again, 4 of your main color, 1 accent bead, 4 of your main color, skip over the gem or the pearl or whatever you're using and go through that little accent bead. You're just continuing round the way your thread path is going. And once more, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 accent, 1, 2, 3, 4, and through this accent bead before we started doing the netting in this 4th round. So there we go. I've got little seed beads hugging each gemstone, and that's the next netting, but I need to step up. So remember, stepping up is coming through those 4 silver ones and through the little accent bead. So through 5 beads in total. And you're ready to start adding your gemstones or your pearls again. So I'm swapping back to the labradorite now. 1 and then straight across to that accent color and through the bead. Pick up another one. Oh, did you see the schiller on that one that I picked up? I love labradorite. Straight across and through the accent bead. And one more. Find the holes in them. And straight through that little accent bead. And my round is complete because I've got 3 gemstones at the top there. And I'm ready to start a netting round. Now if I move it on its side, you can see how there's very little thread showing. So picking up 4 of my main color, 1 accent and 4 of my main color is the perfect number of seed beads when you're using 6mm beads in the center here. As I said, if you're using a 4mm, you might get away with picking up 3 of your main color, 1 accent, 3 of your main color. And similarly, if you're using a bigger size bead, you're going to want to pick up 5 of your main color, 1 accent, 5. It will just be a case of trial and error. So I'm going to do a few more rows and then come back to you and show you what it's looking like. I thought I'd just very quickly show you how I'm getting on, because you can really see how that net is encasing those gemstones now. And I'm loving it. I can see I'm going to get a lot of wear out of this one. So I've just completed a round of netting, and I've stepped up and I'm exiting out of the accent bead, and it's time to complete a round of gemstones. So picking up 1 and skipping across to the accent bead. Pick up another one and skip across to the accent bead. And 1 more to complete this round. Skip across and through the accent bead. So there's another round completed, this time of gemstones, so it's time to start a round of netting, which was the 4 of your main color, 1 accent, and 4 of your main color. skip over the gemstone and through the next accent bead. And so you continue. I'll come back to you when I'm finished and I'll show you how to add on your clasp. I'm ready to add my clasp on now. So I've beaded about 6 inches of rope. Because this is quite a big toggle clasp, it's going to add at least another inch to my beaded rope. So always stop short to allow for your clasp. But before I show you how to do that, I want to show you another one. Same technique that I'm working on, but with much smaller beads so that you can see the difference in the thickness of the rope. So in this one, I'm using little 3mm pearls. They're all the same color. Still using size 11 seed beads, but instead of picking up 4 and accent 4, I'm picking up 2 and accent 2, and I'm actually using a bigger accent bead. I'm using a size 8 seed bead as the accent. So it's worthwhile having a play around with your different sizes just to see the different effect that you get and the different widths of your rope. Right, onto the clasp. I've just come through my last accent bead and I'm going to pass the needle through one of the gems. And it's going to be just the perfect amount of thread too. So I'm going to use my silver 11s to add on my clasp, and I'm going to pick up 7. There are no rules. I'm picking up 7. So it's 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to let them drop down to the bead. And I am going to come through one end of my toggle and I'm going to pass back down through the first 2 of those. So that means I've got to pick up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to pass back through that gemstone from the opposite side. So I've got one side attached. I'm then going to pass through the accent bead and through the next gemstone of that final round, and I'm going to repeat. I'm going to pick up 5 because I've got the 2 there, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to pass through those 2 that are right at the top there. Through the 2 to make up my 7. Just get them in the right place. Pass through my toggle. And back down through those top 2. And then I'm going to pick up another 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to come through the gemstone from the other side. So now I've got 2 of my gemstones attached. And I'm just going to do the same with the third one. So through the accent bead, through the gemstone. Look at that schiller. Pick up 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. As I said, no rules. You might be picking up only 3 or 4, or you might be picking up more if you need to make your bracelet length a bit longer. I'm going through those 2. It's getting tight in those 2 now. Through the gemstone. Through the toggle. What am I talking about? Back down through those 2 seed beads at the very top. If you can get your needle in now. There we go. I have a feeling I've gone through 3 there, so I'll just come back a bit. There we go, through 2. And I'm going to pick up 5 more. Find the gemstone that's only got 1 strand coming down at the moment. Here it is. Go through the gem And there I've got one end of my toggle clasp attached. Again, as I say, there are no rules. You might have your own way of attaching clasps, but I thought I'd just show you anyway. So now what I'm ready to do is to end off my thread, and I'm just going to pass through the beads down a row, pull my threads in tight, and I'm ready to tie a double half hitch knot between these two gemstones. So that's make a loop with your thread, pass the needle through the loop and pull tight. That's a half hitch, and a double is when you do it twice. So I'm making the loop. I've caught the thread between the two gems, made a loop, needle through the loop, and then I'm going to pull that knot into the gemstone. Now you would attach the other side of your clasp exactly the same way with your tail thread, and your bracelet is complete. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope I've shown you that a rope that can look quite complicated is actually quite easy to do. Have a go experimenting with different sizes. I'll bring that one in again to show you the difference. Different sizes. You don't have to stick to 2 colors or 1 color. Try 3, 4, multiple colors, and see what designs you come up with. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch this. If you have any questions, pop them in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed the tutorial, please hit the subscribe button, and that way when you next log into YouTube, you'll be notified when I've uploaded some new material. Take care. Bye.